This is a former Labour politician called Debonnaire, now Baroness Debonnaire. When I say a former Labour politician and a former Labour MP, she's of course still a politician because she's now a life peer in the House of Lords. She was the MP for Bristol West between 2015 and 2024 when she became a life peer, and she's still running around our politics, and she's just an excellent example of how we just can't get rid of these people. Like, if they want to stick around, they will make sure they stick around, and there's just very little we can do about it. So anyway, she's a very interesting case here, right? So she was born in 1966 in Peterborough to a father of Indian and Sri Lankan Tamil family origin and an English mother. Now, you wouldn't really believe it, judging from the things that she says and does, that she is half English. She seems to, well, not like England at all, actually, and only seems to properly identify with her foreign heritage, which is an interesting and disappointing thing. Because, well, why shouldn't she be identifying with her English heritage, especially since she born and raised in England? You would think this would be important. Anyway, she's got an MSc in Management Development and Social Responsibility, the University of Bristol. You can see exactly where this is going. She was a professional classical cellist, which is great. So she comes from a reasonably well-to-do family of shitlibs, frankly. Is how I'd describe it. She's not a communist. She's just a really insufferable liberal. And she went into Parliament in 2015, where she was scraped by with a majority of 5,000, which isn't bad, actually, to be honest. But and then under Corbyn, she did really well in Bristol. In the snap 2017 general election, she went up to 65% from 37% of the vote share, with a majority of 37,000, so you can see how much Bristol loves Jeremy Corbyn. I remember back in 2017, Corbyn represented a genuine, authentic left-wing voice in the Labour Party. She wasn't an authentic left-winger, although she's every bit as woke as the rest of them. She just has different dimensions to her politics that the truly hard left don't have. But you can see that Bristol absolutely loves Corbyn, and so 37,000 majority on that one. So good for her. And then in 2019 she was elected again, but slightly fewer. But of course, Bristol West, what do you expect? It's a massive Labour constituency. It's going to have been for a long time. She was at various points the Shadow Secretary of State, the Shadow Leader of the House of Commons, Shadow Secretary of State for Media, Culture and Sport by Keir Starmer, despite admitting she'd never been to a football or rugby match before, so, everything that she knows about it. And then in the 2024 Labour general election, Bristol West was abolished and replaced with Bristol Central, so she was selected as the Labour candidate for Bristol Central in 2024, and she lost. She lost to, where is it? She lost to Carla Denyer of the Green Party. Have you ever seen the Blackadder episodes where he falls in love with Bob? Bob being a young woman who dresses up as a man to get ahead in the world of men and finds herself falling for Blackadder and Blackadder for her. And Blackadder's like, oh my God, am I gay? And then it's revealed, no, Bob is a woman. And Blackadder's like, thank God. I don't know why, but Carla really reminds me of that character. I just don't know why. There's something about her that makes me think of her as a Bob. And I've no idea. But the point is, you can see that in the minds of the Corbyn-loving electorate in Bristol, the Labour Party is too far to the right. And so they decided, we're going to vote for the Green Party. And so Carla Denyer got in, and Debonnaire did not. And so what happens when one of the Labour shitlib grandees gets chucked out and deselected by the public? Well, they get shoved into the House of Lords. Of course they bloody do. It's so insufferable. I mean, this from May earlier this year. And this is just insufferable. It's just a way... And look at the way the BBC describe it. It's provided a way back into the fray for two former West Country MPs. As in, the public deselected them. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't agree with the Corbyn voting public who are like, no, you're not left-wing enough. Obviously. But the power of selection is ours, and we're supposed to be the ones who make it. And so it's kind of insufferable that these two people, who, again, both Labour, both lost their constituencies in 2024, have been just elected, well, selected, not elected, to the House of Lords under, really just trivial constituencies as well. But the point is, this allows the Labour Party to continue to sort of roll them out to do things for the Labour Party. For example, here's Thangam Debonnaire debating Zia Youssef on the Online Safety Act. Now, Zia Youssef, I'm not a huge fan of, obviously, but he made fine points in this debate, and he represented what we can... I don't even know if we need to call it the right-wing side of the argument perfectly well. You can see from her expression and her cavalier position here, and just the aspect that she puts on here, that she doesn't care about this. She doesn't care about this debate, and also she realizes at this point she is invulnerable. Like, she will always have this position until she dies. And so it doesn't matter to her. None of this matters to her. And so she can act, frankly, like a giant arsehole to Zia, who is, at least, again, I don't want to defend Zia, but he was debating this in good faith and actually offering a proper argument. She was being a total prick about it, and it was just really, really insufferable. But this is the sort of person we just have to deal with. And most recently, she's called for the removal of the Clive of India statue outside of the Foreign Office. Now, there are two narratives on Clive of India. One, that he was this evil, rapacious colonizer. It's like, well, you win some, you lose some, and in India's case, they lost some. But secondly, Clive could have been way worse. Like, he was put on trial for looting India, and they acquitted him because he was like, look, I was astonished at my own moderation, actually. I mean, it's not that he didn't take anything, obviously, but what he was doing is conquering a series of sultanates. So it's not like these were resources available to regular Indian people. He was conquering empires, kingdoms, in which the kings or emperors, often not native themselves, often like Mughal from Afghanistan or elsewhere in the Islamic world, had taken over areas of India. So the Indians have got a really poor conception of their own history in a lot of ways, actually. But he's conquering the elite. He's not like extracting wealth from regular peasants, because of course they don't really have any. That's already been extracted by the kings. But anyway, she wants his statue torn down because she just doesn't like it. Just doesn't like it, right? This statue continues to promote him in a victorious mode and as a symbol of something that had universal good. Well, I just have to say, nobody said it had to be a universal good, right? Normally a country puts up statues of their heroes, whether they were good or not, frankly, just because they were their heroes in that time, in that place, in that context, and saying, well, was this a universal good? Well, no statue of a hero is a universal good, because on the other side of the hero there's a villain, and the villain represents someone. I mean, Genghis Khan has a massive statue in Mongolia, and they are rightfully very proud of his accomplishments. But there's no way you could ever describe what Genghis Khan did as a universal good, and yet that doesn't mean he doesn't warrant a statue. The statue is for us, the British people. It is not for the concept of abstract universal goods. It is us and ours, parochially, in this time, in this country, in this place, as a reminder of the greatness of the nation. If you don't like it because you are of partially, at least, foreign extraction, well, that's too bad. I mean, the reason that you are here is because of Clive of India then. So if you're happy being a Baroness over a bunch of people that you obviously don't really care that much for, then maybe you should consider that. But she says, I don't think it's helpful for any visitor to the Foreign Office, particularly those of us of Indian origins in the diaspora, but also visiting Indian people, Indian dignitaries, ambassadors, trade ministers, to walk into the Foreign Office past that statue. I don't think that presents Britain in a particularly good light in the 21st century. I don't care, frankly. I don't care what Indian ambassadors think of it. And I agree, in fact, that it does cast a kind of aspersion on Britain itself, right? As in, these were the kinds of men we used to produce, and now we're stuck with Keir Starmer. The greatness of Britain has diminished somewhat in everyone's eyes, and this should be a reminder of what we were in the past. And we should think about being better, don't you think? Anyway, the statue itself was completed in 1912, and frankly, I think it looks fine. I think it's a good thing to have. I think we are cool. Our ancestors were cool and did based and badass things. What it doesn't do is contextualise or indeed give any honesty about what his presence in India actually did. He extracted a vast fortune, from people who had already extracted vast fortunes. I mean, again, we're not going to act like India with some Garden of Eden, full of people who are just passing daisy chains from one to the other. And then the evil, rapacious British turned up and built them railroads and connected them to an international trade network. No. There was rampant tyranny and oppression from people who weren't British. And then the British turned up and did less tyranny and oppression to the point where India became a very prosperous and coherent modern nation out of it. And then we left. Because the Indians protested for their freedom, right? We didn't lose a war, right? They protested, we felt guilty, and we left. It's not that we weren't defeated on the battlefield or anything, because of course, that's not what happens here. But anyway, she complains and she's whining, and it's just constantly non-stop doing us down as always, and we can't even get bloody rid of her because, of course, she is in the House of Lords. So what do? We're just saddled with yet another, out-group-loving politician who's just now going to extract resources out of Britain forever until she dies, eventually, and she's going to be continually in a presence in our lives, complaining that she's just not happy because somehow Britain just hasn't given her enough, even though I would suggest Britain has given her plenty and she's done really, really well out of it all. So maybe, just maybe, she should show a little bit of gratitude. But instead, we're just evil and tear down the statues. Oh yeah, that's another thing. I mean, she was the MP of Bristol West when the statue of Edward Colston was being torn down. Now, I'm not from Bristol. I don't give a damn about Edward Colston. He was a bit of a local hero in previous eras. But she's totally fine with that, and that's the continuation of this thesis. Tear down statues of people we don't like because fundamentally we don't see ourselves as being British. I was like, no, sorry, I don't agree with that. And if you don't like it, well, you're the one talking about being of the Indian diaspora. You always have a homeland to return to. This is my homeland. I don't have anywhere to go. And I would like it to reflect my ancestors. And I'm not here to debate that with you.